Beatrice Henderson, and I'm 62 years of age. I'm a mother of two wonderful sons that I'm very proud of, my daughter-in-laws, and my three grandbabies. I come from a family of 8 children, 6 blood siblings and 2 unofficially adopted. I come from St. John, New Brunswick, Canada, and at 14 years old, I moved up to Toronto, Ontario. Some history of my background is that on my mother's side, she's a descendant from the African slaves in the States who had run away to Canada during the War of 1812 and fought on the side of the British. They're one of the many first black loyalists in Canada, and my family has a log cabin, a copy of their original log cabin in the Outdoors Museum in Fredericton, New Brunswick, as well as she has a Native Canadian, Aboriginal Malasey from New Brunswick. My dad's side of the family is a descendant of the African slave from Jamaica and the British slave owners. Well, my grandmother is British, but his family also goes back further where it's Scottish slave owners. I was born, baptized, and raised up to 10 years of age into the High Anglican Church of England in St. John, New Brunswick. At 10 years of age, during the Easter Sunday prayer, the minister was describing to everyone in the church what Jesus Christ physically looked like. The bronze skin and the curly hair like a lamb or sheep. And with my intriguing mind, I had looked up at the stained glass windows and saw someone that did not look like that. So with my questioning, I asked the minister at that time, why the difference? Why the Bible says Jesus has dark-colored skin and tightly curled hair versus the white man with the light brown blonde hair. And he basically gave me a pat on the head and shooed me out the church door when church was over. So when I got home to my mother, I told her I don't like being lied to and I'm not going to church anymore. And that's probably my first time of rebellion against my parents, but I never went back to church. When we moved up into Toronto, the 2 eldest of my female siblings had gone into the Nation of Islam in, I'd say, the early 70s. And of course, as younger siblings, you usually follow in the same footsteps. And that was with the Muslims from the States, the Nation of Islam under Elijah Muhammad and his son after that. So I have always believed in God. As a Christian, even the time between coming out of Christianity into Islam, I've always believed in God. I've always believed in a higher being, a supreme being. I'm not ignorant enough to think that we came here ourselves. So I've always believed in Allah. I've always called my God Allah. When the Nation of Islam was having problems, and I think probably with a lot of influence from the American government and all that, and Elijah Muhammad passed away, my sisters kind of fell out of Islam, fell out of the nation. And as a younger sibling, I did as well. But I always believed in Allah and God. I always believed in the 10 Commandments. Jesus Christ. The only thing I don't believe about Jesus Christ is that he's God, like Christians do. I don't believe in that. I don't need, and I've been told by Christians that they do that because Christians need, or people need, to see a physical being to believe in a God. I don't need that. I don't need to see anything. I just know there is a God. I feel there is a God. And when my sisters came out of that, I didn't follow the Islamic way. I mean, I always believed in Allah, but I wasn't doing everything I should. I wasn't praying and going to mosque and all that. I graduated my high school and I went to college. In high school, I had a teacher, the only teacher I can really say I remember and respect and really learned something, but not in what she was teaching. It was a history class, a Mrs. Giroux, and she was teaching the beginning of the human being. We were always told that they came from the caves. And I remember that day going home and I saw a newspaper, the Toronto Star, and they were showing the oldest human being. And this was actually when the first time was in church at 10 that I have to start thinking for myself. And then with Mrs. Giroux, and she was telling me that, well, the oldest human beings that they know from now is coming from Africa. And that's my second enlightening as to I've got to start thinking for myself. So I've been that way all my adult life now. My mom was a believer that, in God till the day she died. And we all believe in that. She's a strong believer in questioning things and don't be afraid to speak your mind when you want to know the truth about something. We've all been raised that way. We've raised our children that way. Now, last year, just as Ramadan started, something just told me I have to do my total conversion. It wasn't anyone saying anything to me or anything. It's just, I have to go do it. And I spoke to my son, Talib, and I told him, I have to do this. I want to do this. It's not someone pushing me into it or coercing me into it or telling me all these things. It's just that moment. I knew what I had to do. So I spoke to my son, my eldest son. And he said, okay. He said, I'll get things ready for you. And the first night of Ramadan, we went over to his in-laws' place, just around the corner. And they had everything set up. I have never been more happy in all my life. I know what I'm supposed to be doing now. I've always had an idea what I'm supposed to be doing in life, human rights and activism and all that. But now I have a stronger sense, a stronger want and will to do it. So that night in Ramadan, everything was set up and I submitted to Allah totally. I've never been more happier. My life is much better. And I actually feel like I've never really felt like I was alone in the world. I've never had that feeling. But I feel now that I know for sure that I have that protection and that love and that understanding, and I have a really good feeling inside. And my children, I see that with me doing this, and I have 2 sons, one's followed the Islamic way, one's somewhat followed the Christian way, but the fact that I've done this, I see it's given them a better feeling that, okay, Mom's doing this, and they see the positive impact it's had on me. As far as my friends and people around me, they've always known I believed in Allah my whole life. So it's no one saying, well, you shouldn't go that way or you should go that way. They've just said, I'm happy for you. God in your life, either way, is good for you. And if it makes you happy, it makes us happy. Do I have fear or regrets, or can someone bother me? No, they wouldn't dare. People who know me, who have known me all my life, known I've always believed in Allah, know that nothing can change my mind. That's just who I am. Well, like I said, my sisters got me into the Nation of Islam first. And I've always believed in Allah, believed in Muhammad, and the laws of Allah. So it was like breathing, eating, sleeping for me. I didn't practice it all that much, but I believed. And I would fight for it, no doubt. And then up until, like I said, Ramadan, I was the same way. It was like an everyday thing for me. Sleeping, breathing, eating. It was not a big decision, a hard decision. It was just something that came into my mind and I had to go do it. It was going to the family's place. It was Ramadan. We did our prayers and everything. We were talking. My daughter-in-law's mother said, I hear you want to convert completely to Islam? And I said, yes. She said, good, we're ready for you. And they were very happy. I was happy. And we did the process there. We had a beautiful dinner together. Like I said, my son, my daughter-in-law, my grandbabies there, and my other in-laws and everything. It was not something hard or anything. It was normal for me. It was like a normal thing. Islam has made me, I've always been strong-willed, but it's made me stronger. I've always been a caring person for other people and being out there and being active to do things for that, but it's even more so now. It's given me peace of mind, peace in my heart. I don't know, to me it's natural. You know, I would guess, I don't know, my family weren't strong Christians, but my mother would send us to church on Sundays and Sunday school. But my parents were the type of parents where if it makes you happy and you're sure of it, do it. Versus be afraid of it and don't do it. Don't step out of that circle. And my mother was, like I said, I had two older sisters that was always there in Islam, and my friends, my sister's friends, and some other cousins, older cousins. And so it was natural. I didn't have any backlash by my parents or friends or relatives or any of that. I wasn't Sunni before. Like I said, my original rebirth into Islam was through the Nation of Islam from the States. Okay, so after I was 10 years old and had the incident in church on Easter Sunday, and I came out of church, I came out of religion. Yes, I believed in the Ten Commandments and I believed in God. That I believed in. I actually came away from the whole human being male leader of churches. I just felt totally lied to, deceived. And then in the 70s, early 70s, my two older sisters, Darlene and Vivian, and my cousin Shaida went into Islam, following the Nation of Islam from the States. They went to mosque over in Buffalo, in Detroit. They had their head covered, they had their body covered. No pork, no alcohol, no smoking, none of that. And to me, that was just natural. I didn't have a problem with that. Maybe that's because that's how it should have been, and it just came like a child breastfeeding from its mother. And then at the end, like the Nation of Islam, I love history. And like I said before with my history teacher, Mrs. Giroux, in grade 9, and understanding the oldest human beings coming from Africa, the Nation of Islam not only taught us Islam, but the history of my ancestors, which is the African slaves, the Africans stolen from Africa and enslaved in the States, and what's going on in the States currently to all the descendants, my people, and that's what drew, I think, us into the Nation of Islam. The religious part of Islam and the history that we have never been told. So we were making a connection. At the same time, you have Muhammad Ali and how he converted to Islam and how brave he was to fight the American government against the war in Vietnam, even though he went to prison and he lost all that money. How Malcolm X went into the Nation of Islam and he was an activist for the peace he went over to Mecca and came back and he was actually seeing various colors of people all under one religion. Where with Christianity is one of the things, and the people, it's the leaders of Christianity that use Christianity for enslavement. So that also, I saw that with Malcolm X. And when my sisters went into it, and I'm close with my sisters, and they've always been like additional mothers to me, even though we have our mother, it was natural to follow them. It was very natural. In fact, I'm sad that they're not still into Islam. I mean, they don't eat pork. They believe in Allah, that I know. They've always believed in God, and they call God Allah. Do they do their prayers 5 times a day? I don't know. I know they pray. But that's where I came into Islam. And I didn't get into it as deep as they did when they did, but I always believed in Allah. I've never had anyone come to me and with a negative attitude or feedback about Islam or being a Muslim. When my sisters first became into Islam and I followed them, we went to the mosque in Buffalo, in Detroit. I've seen the current minister, Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan here in Canada. I've gone and listened to him. But that's the only Muslim we knew. That's the only ones you heard in the media. You never heard in Canadian government, from politicians, from the media here, that there was other Muslims, that there was any mosques. And if I read the information correctly, Muslims have been here since about 1901, 1906. And the mosques have been here. But the Muslims, it's like, are they afraid to come out and say they're Muslims? They believe in Allah? Or, I know because a lot are from immigrating into the country and not knowing would they be kicked out. I mean, there's a lot of things of why, you feel like they're hiding and you understand why they're not. You're seeing the type of backlash and stuff that's coming out, stupidness that's coming out now, and you understand. But at the same time, I mean, it's like being a black person in Canada. I'm proud of being black and native, so I'm not hiding for anyone. And I'm proud of being Muslim and a believer of the Quran and loving Allah. I'm not hiding for anyone. That's not going to happen. So one of the things that, like I said before, I don't like the idea you have this sect, the Muslim, Shia, Sunni, and all those. I want to see where Muslims come together as Muslim. And that's one of the things I shied away from Islam. And I shouldn't have. I know that. Because it's the people that are the problem, just like in Christianity. But that's what hurts. Everyone being different sects. The other thing is that what I've learned is that being native and being a descendant of African slaves, I see a lot of racism in, not Islam, in the followers of Islam. When I go to mosques, when I'm at other gatherings, I've seen the racism. And that's not what Islam is supposed to be about. I've seen that in Christianity when I followed it. I don't want to see that in Islam. Islam is supposed to be everyone. If everyone can be the same in Mecca, when they go to Hajj, it should be the same when they come back home. I think the imams need to take and be at the forefront when they're at mosque and let all the brothers and sisters know. It don't matter what country you come from. We have to keep that whole class thing that we've had in our countries, not just here in Canada and the States, but in India and Pakistan, in the Middle East, where you have all those classes done. That can't be. Because Islam is being attacked. And the only way Islam is going to survive is if those sects come together as one Muslim, and all the races in Islam and the genders in Islam come together as one. Otherwise, it's going to continue. So my first Ramadan, which was when I actually converted to Islam last year, I found fasting easy. I think because that's what was required and that's what I want to do. So it became natural. Unfortunately, I got the cold and everything after my first week. So I was sick with the cold for about 2 or 3 weeks. But for me, it was natural. And like I said, because I love Allah and Islam, it was something that's supposed to be done. And everyone around me was doing it and enjoying it. And it's something they look forward to, which is something that's interesting to me, that I have something to look forward to in my religion. I started reading the Quran and getting into it, some other books that has been given to me by sisters and brothers and my son, reading, understanding the prayer and how to do the prayer and the times, and how to do my prayer with Ramadan time and all that. I've always believed, like I said, in Allah, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad. I've always believed in those teachers, prophets of God. So to me, it's just a natural believing. I don't know how better else to say it. It's just natural for me. I believe in God. I believe in Allah. I believe in who He sent to teach us each and every time. So, I mean, it's like breathing. I mean, I'm just, like I am new to it, where I've actually put myself into Islam. So I'm just new learning. And like I said, thank Allah that I've got sisters that are so willing to teach me what I need to know about Islam, the Quran, the prayers, the dress, everything. And like I said, they're like, it's like having a whole new set of sisters, a whole new family. The sisters got together last week, and another sister was converting. And she said the same thing. It was strange because she said it was just her time. Her stepsister, her best friend, has been Muslim for 40 years. And she said, she told her husband, I'm converting. She said, just like that, I'm converting. She says, and there's such an inner peace when I did it. And that's exactly how it happens. It's just an inner peace. You know you're doing the right thing. Okay, let's go on. I breathe, sleep, move. It's just natural. My granddaughter now, she's going on 2 years old. She sees us pray, and she gets down, and she gets on the prayer rug with her mom or her dad or me, and she goes, Allahu Akbar, and she bows. She's doing it with her dolls. Yeah, she has her dolls praying. She gets them praying too. I bought her little hijabs. She loves them. She loves wearing her mom's hijab. Loves that. So yeah, I'm very proud that she's going into that route as well, because she sees it at home on a regular basis, right? She sees when we all get together, and the other sisters and their families, we get together, and she sees all the children, and it's a really good. I like the connection. I feel like I'm a part of something bigger than me. I feel like there's other people out there that understand how I think and how I believe, not just now, but all my life, and they're now experiencing it as well. My oldest son is married to a Muslim, and actually, he had met her in university, and I spoke to her. He introduced me to her on the internet. She's an activist, Jillery Massa, the young lady that you saw in the news last year with the Ryerson incident and all that. And when he told me she's an activist, because my families are activists, and I said, that's the sister I want you to marry. He said, oh, Mom, she's short. We'll have short kids. I said, I don't care. She's the one I want. She's strong and bold, and I know my grandchildren will be strong and bold. So they went about 10 years, and they had no connection or anything. So I was praying. I'd ask him about it every night. She's short. I said, well, that's who I want. So I kept praying, and her mother was doing the same thing, praying for her. And the two of them connected up on the internet, on Facebook. And within 6 months, they were married. They have a great marriage. They're so good with each other. They support each other. Very strong in their Islamic roots and beliefs. And like I said, my granddaughter sees it at home. She's the same way. I love to see her when she's down there. We're praying and she gets down and she's got it, you know. And the funny thing is, her dad will be reading an Islamic book. He's sitting on the prayer rug reading his Islamic book, and she will crawl up on his lap and be so quiet while he's reading the book out to her. All I know is that this is where I'm supposed to be. This is where I'm supposed to be. I'm happy, contented. I pray and I wish more people felt what I feel. And I think in due time, I think with Muslims have got to get out there. They can't allow the media, the government, to keep them from getting out there and being proud of who they are. I've never been a person that walked around not being proud of who I am. Before I was Christian, when I was Christian, before I became Muslim, I've always been proud of who I am. My religion, my ancestry, everything. So Muslims have got to get out there and not be afraid, no matter what. Get out there and be proud of who they are. The thing I would like to see is more Muslim brothers stop wearing the Western garments. Be proud of who they are. If we sisters can be proud of who we are and we wear our hijabs, we got our hair covered, we're covered, why can't the brothers? Be out there and be proud of who you are. Don't let anything stop you from doing that. And that's what I miss. That's what I need to see from my Muslim brothers and sisters. Be proud of who you are. Come out of your houses. Wear your religious attire. And don't be ashamed of it. You got nothing to be ashamed of. I love seeing the little sisters in their hijabs. I love seeing that. They look so regal. Be proud. Don't let anything scare you, intimidate you. Because you know the lies that are out there are lies. And tell them they're lies. Thank God for the internet, where you can have access to information and access to contacts and this. And not everyone is against Islam. You got a lot of Harper was a good one, but he's racist and discriminatory against everyone. I'm sure if he looked in the mirror at himself, he'd be that way against himself. But you have the various so-called Christian neo-Nazi, all those type of things. They can't stand themselves either, but you have to get out there and educate people. And I find a lot of people don't know, a lot of the non-Christians, non-Muslims don't know. And a lot of them are ignorant and uneducated, but If they ask you a question, answer them. Educate them. Educate them. And I think that would probably be the better way. But we as Muslims, we have a lot of cleaning up in our own homes to do. Like I said, especially the division of the races in Islam. That's got to stop. That's totally got to stop because it's against Islam. It's just like the Christian people. That's what they did. It's just like Judaism that you see. That's what they do over in Jerusalem and Palestine. It's got to stop. And we're not going to be a true, Islam is a true religion. We're not going to be true Muslims until we start doing the right thing.